From the land down under, with the rock at its centre, comes the little Aussie Watchman.
Intolerance of Christianity and Christians is now rearing again its ugly head in the covers of popular culture. Once Australians proved they had let go of Australians' Christian past by voting for same-sex marriage, a vote that demonstrated that nearly two-thirds of Australians are either atheists or are only Christian in name only, then it was only natural that those whose hatred for Christianity which was once hidden from view now finds itself on the front pages of our major newspapers. It started with this article in the Sydney Morning Herald entitled "Same-Sex Debate, Religious Freedom is and Should be Limited." Here the author likens Christian bakers and florists who are conscientious objectors to gay marriage to wife-beaters, polygamists and genital mutilators. He argues that given that those in the wedding industry are involved in a non-church business, they are subject to non-discriminatory laws. This may seem like a good argument to the atheist. However, for the sincere Christian, whose whole life is subject to the laws of God, it is highly problematic. While it should be no problem for Christian bakers and florists to serve homosexuals, the problem arises when it involves a religious ceremony, a wedding. To be part of a sacred ceremony that is in fact celebrating an abomination in front of God is a pill that the sincere Christian cannot swallow. It requires a breaking of faith with their God, and now, unless they are specifically protected by the law, they will lose their jobs. None of this, of course, matters to the ungodly or the fake godly. They are quite happy to force those unfortunate Christian bakers to break their faith with their God. They'll also be quite happy to drag them through the court systems so they go bankrupt and lose their business. Serve them right, they will say, those homophobic Christians. The teeth are now out, and they will chase down every Christian baker and florist until they are all out of business. Unfortunately, it is now time for all sincere Christians in these para-wedding type industries to get out. It is only a matter of time before lawyers are going to be breathing down your necks. Time to think about Plan B. The other concerning article is found in the Australian. Yes, that's right, the Australian. Not the Age or the Sydney Morning Herald, the Australian. The headline reads, "The Monsters Beneath." Notice the subtext declaring that the Vice President of America, Mike Pence, is a sinister theocrat. Going into the article, it turns out that the reason Mike Pence is a sinister monster is because he said that prayer and the Bible were the foundations that should guide those mourning after the Las Vegas shooting. That's it. Yes, the author Bob Carr claims Mike Pence is a monster because he valued prayer and the Bible. Doesn't Bob Carr know that the only reason for the supremacy of Western civilization is because of prayer and the precepts written within the Bible? But in this new age of anti-Christian hatred, Christianity is less seen as a historical relic, but a historical evil that refuses to be vanquished. Christianity is seen as evil, as a monster, as the enemy of civilization. They have been brainwashed with Satan's propaganda. Without Christianity, Western civilization would have lost its foundation, its soul, and it will degrade into immorality, authoritarianism, and tyranny. Hopefully those anti-Christian forces within our society do not ever get the upper hand. But that hope becomes less and less as each year ushers in yet more discrimination and persecution of those who are willing to stand for their faith. Those who hate Christianity are no longer in the shadows. A cavalcade of prayer must arise to these same people, and not on the streets, roaming them with a bloodlust worthy of the French, Chinese, Russian, or more recently Islamic revolutions. Christians and Christian leaders are the common enemy in all these antichrist revolutions, and so they can be again in this once fair nation of Australia.